Chapter 17. Silva Techniques in Mental Health. By Sam Gonzalez Silva. Psychologists need to have understanding, insight, compassion, patience, and endurance. Often that's not enough. There is no greater challenge than understanding another human being. It is especially important to be able to make quick, accurate evaluations when working in crisis situations, such as I have done for the last 21 years. I've gotten calls in the middle of the night, and I've been paged while presenting Silva classes, to come and evaluate somebody to decide if they need to be committed or not. The wrong choice could mean losing them. I have had to make many quick decisions in the emergency room when people were brought in with bleeding wrists resulting from a suicide attempt. Many counselors will simply play it safe by confining all of these people. But I use my intuition to sense whether this is just a one-time incident because they were depressed over some particular thing, or if they are chronically depressed and will attempt suicide again. I've sent a lot of people home, and have never lost one yet. I've made the correct choice every time. You can also lose a person if you select the wrong method of treatment. Sometimes you do need to use a confrontational approach, but if you use it at the wrong time, you can lose all of the rapport that you have established. A parole officer confronted one of his parolees about getting a job. He told the parolee he was tired of hearing excuses, and that if he didn't get a job right away, the parole officer would have him sent back to prison. Late that night, the parole officer received a call from a deputy sheriff. The parolee had hanged himself, and in his pocket they found the parole officer's card. The parole officer did what he thought he should, but he still carries the guilt over that decision. I am so grateful that I have been able to use my intuition to avoid situations like that. There are many other examples of intuition helping psychologists help their patients. A particularly moving story follows. Establishing better rapport. A psychologist in New York told us about something that happened while he was conducting a group counseling session. One member of the group was a paranoid schizophrenic, and he started acting out. The patient jumped up, started talking rapidly, gesturing excitedly, and causing concern among the other patients. Previously, the therapist would have tried to regain control and calm the patient down. Instead, he tried a technique that he had learned in Silva training that allows you to find out exactly what the other person is experiencing. At your level, you imagine that you are superimposing the subject's head over your own, as though you were putting on a helmet. Then you can test the subject's senses by testing your own senses. Whatever you sense is what your subject is sensing. The psychologist stayed in his seat and mentally superimposed the patient's head over his own and began thinking about what the patient was experiencing. Suddenly the patient stopped and looked directly at the psychologist. "You know what I'm thinking, don't you?" the patient asked. The therapist cautiously acknowledged that he did. "You have the same thoughts in your head that I have in mine, don't you?" the patient asked. Once again, the psychologist cautiously confirmed that he believed he did. "Then that means that I'm not crazy, doesn't it? Because if I'm crazy, you're crazy too." The effect of this realization was spectacular, the psychologist reported. When the patient discovered that somebody else knew what he was experiencing, and was experiencing the same thing, he didn't feel so alone anymore, he didn't feel so different, so abnormal. Shared experience is very powerful. In this instance, it turned out to be a healing experience. The patient made more progress as a result of that one experience than he had made in the previous year of therapy. Sam Gonzalez Silva has worked with Southern Nevada Adult Mental Health Services since retiring from the U.S. Air Force in 1978. He has also been a Silva instructor during that time. He first learned the Silva techniques as a child from his uncle, Jose Silva, and is one of the most knowledgeable Silva instructors in the world.